the other part is, I can say, personal grooming. So out of all, the very important thing is, I can say, appearance for an interview. How do you appear? See, dressing is a very, very important thing to be taken care of, because we try to dress up according to, based on the occasion. So the way you dress up when you go to a party, when you go to a wedding, when you go to an interview, when you go to a funeral, when you go to some celebration, for each occasion, you will try to really dress up in a different way. So that's why you have to take care of your dressing. So in the dressing, especially in the appearance, what should you wear is very important. See, these days what happens is, especially in software companies or in MNCs and all that, they allow you to wear informal kind of dresses, maybe gaudy dresses and all that, but still it is a good idea to go formal. But you need not be too formal nor be too informal. Okay, be medium wise. Don't wear jeans and a t-shirt with some kind of picture, awkward pictures and all that, and don't wear too gaudy kind of dresses and all that. You can always wear what kind of job that you are going for. Are you going for a white collar job or a blue collar job, or what kind of job that you are going for? Based on that, you will have to really maintain the dress. It is always a good idea to wear formal dress, whether you are going for a blue collar job or a white collar job, or a creative role or a business role. There is one general rule that it comes to wear dress up. So usually recruiters, what they see is that how well groomed he is. Is he physically tidy or not? Is the dressing? See, actually, they ask us to really take head bath, because that gives a fresh kind of impression. A head bath, and then the way you comb your hairstyle, and then the shirt and pants, suitable and very attractive pants, and combination of pants and shirts, and with a insert with a proper belt, and then shoes with good laces. Okay, and all that matters a lot, because from top to toe you look very tidy, very neat, just to the occasion. So it shows to the recruiter that you are very serious about the job. It's not that you have just casually come only to see whether I'll be selected or not. When you really groom yourself, when you really take care to dress up, your haircut, your personal grooming and all that shows you are very serious about yourself, very serious about the job that you have applied for. Though some companies allow you to wear denims and all that, but it's always a good idea to wear formal clothes. And in appearance, you will have to keep a smart, okay, decent, smiling face. Try to maintain smile all the time. It doesn't mean that too much of smile with everyone unnecessarily also causes too much of artificiality. Try to smile only when the occasion demands, but try to keep a pleasant kind of appearance, pleasant kind of face, which really throws a positive, impression. So that's why it is very, very essential, proper dressing and polishing in the shoe, your belt, the pants and shirts, and all that should be well. And coming to women, women especially who attend interviews, it is a good idea to wear a sari, but not too gaudy kind of saris, pattu kind of saris and all that. Comfortable kind of formal kind of saris, cotton ones, and don't try to adjust yourself all the time. if you are very uncomfortable in the interview and always, adjusting yourself here and there and all that, shows that you are feeling so nervous, very uncomfortable and all that, and all the time the necklace or jewelry which you have worn, and you are adjusting yourself this, that and all, will really try to divert the attention of the people. That's why too much of jewelry you should not wear, too much of gaudy dresses, gaudy saris that you should not wear. Be formal, be very decent enough, as if you have gone to attend the interview. And see, for a white collar job, especially for men, it is better to wear a suit with a tie, formal shoes for men, and business suit with either skirt or pants for women is recommended. Navy blue is always a good choice. Navy blue. It's a business like and very conservative also, navy blue. And for a blue color role, less formal office environment. Clean shirt or a jacket with either trousers or pants for a woman, or shirt and tie and jackets for a guy with a dress, shoes and socks and all that. So as a general rule, take extra care with your appearance. The tie, suit, shoes, okay, or blue color one, formal, neat, you have to look. Then dress for the interview. Wear clothes that are comfortable, because your concentration must be on answering, not on yourself. And don't try to attract people towards you. Thereby, you will divert them towards your dressing, the sari, or your jewelry, or something that you have worn, and all that. So, both women and men are advised to go very light on the fragrance. If you really apply some scent, let it be a light one, not too much of a pungent kind of smell. Okay. And dress rehearsal also you can make. And arriving on time is very, very important. The first and foremost thing is that punctuality. Suppose your scheduled time is 10 o'clock, try to reach there by 9:30 or 9:40. It is always a good idea to reach the venue beforehand, because especially in metropolitan cities where there will be too much of traffic and all that, if you try to take risk, because I have interview at 10 o'clock, the journey is only 40 minutes or so, let me start at 9 o'clock and I can reach by 10 o'clock, nothing of that kind. Try to reach the venue beforehand, at least half an hour, so that you can relax, you can acclimatize yourself with the environment, you can just go around, have a sip of water, you can interact with the other applicants, other candidates, you can interact with them, you can really relax. That helps you to relax. Otherwise, if you are in a hurry, on time, exactly the moment you have gone there, they've called you, you didn't have time to breathe, then you've gone inside and you are nervous, you are not able to answer, you are not psychologically prepared, that will actually bring a lot of mess for you. So it is not good idea to be late, nor don't go too early. 10 o'clock interview, don't go 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning. Sir, I came from a different place, sir. Bag and baggage, too many bags and all that on your back and all that looks a bad idea. So neither too early nor too late. And then keep a smile all through. And make eye contact. Try to keep up eye contact with all, and give a firm handshake. Especially in handshake, some people very lightly like this they hold. It's a bad idea. You have to really shake your hand very firmly. That shows, the firmness. Of course, in COVID time, you can avoid that. That's a different thing. So punctuality is very, very important. and smile on your face, proper dressing, maintaining eye contact, and body language. Body language is also very important. Body language is the way you hold the file, the way you walk, the way you stand, the way you sit, the way you talk, your body movements, your facial expression, the smile, your eyebrows. Okay, everything counts in your body language. So all these things you have to take care. And don't tall in your chair. Don't recline too much. Don't slouch. And don't go too close to the interviewer. Maintain distance. Of course, social distance. And don't cross your arms. Yes, sir. Too much of humility is dangerous. Yes, sir. Too humble, too obedient. What is this? You have your own self-respect. Stay away. Okay? And do not place your hands or fingers over your mouth when you speak. And do not evade eye contact. See, the eye contact is a symbol of one's confidence. The moment you try to evade, some people, you know what they do? They try to tell answers without maintaining eye contact. It shows that they are nervous. And communication, next point is communication skills. Communication skills are very, very important. If you don't maintain proper, in the communication skills, your presentation skills, the delivery, the way you deliver, how fluent you are, your vocabulary, your sentence formation, all these things are very, very important. And in communication skills, the content and also the delivery, the choice of words, they're going to look at all this. So all these, they will suppose there is a group discussion, there is a debate. See, you should be aware of certain technical words related to, suppose you are talking about pollution, you are talking about brain drain, you are talking about dowry system. You should have some idea about some technical words related to that, and you try to use them and speak. So if you have good communication skills, you can really convince them with good vocabulary, good expressions. And then enthusiasm. A person should have enthusiasm all through. You should have some kind of interest. If you do not show any kind of enthusiasm, interest in what you are doing, as if you are helpless and you are very desperately in need of this job, somehow they should hire you, and all that kind of attitude don't have. And be enthusiastic about the job. Show some kind of smartness. And then brevity. Try to give your answers in the as brief as possible. Try to tell the answers in nutshell. Try to convince them. So brevity is the soul of wit. If you are brief but still to the point, and what they expected from you has been given, is enough. You have done the point. And very importantly, in the interview, you should be a good listener. Most of us are not able to hear and listen properly what they are. Yes, sir. Come again, sir. Once again, sir. And all that shows that you are not alert. You're not listening carefully. So that's why listen to each and every panel member carefully while they are asking something. They will see your attentive skills. Everything is a skill. So listen carefully, try to assimilate what they have asked, and then respond in your own style with your good communication skills. And then be honest. See, you are not expected to be knowing each and everything. It's not possible for anybody, to be knowing everything. It's not possible. Naturally, it doesn't happen to anybody. Then at that point of time, what you are expected to do? Be honest. Suppose you don't know some answer, just be honest and tell them, I'm sorry, I'm afraid, I have no idea about it, sir. I would be glad if I knew that. I wish I knew it. Kind of answers would really, just to show your honesty. When you don't know, profess, honestly profess, accept it, and sell yourself. See, when you've gone to a job, don't underquote yourself. How much are you expecting? Yes. They say that your wish, sir, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, anything. Why do you leave the ball into their court? You just demand something. See, this is my expectation. Sell yourself. And with your convincing skills, communication skills, your knowledge of the subject, previous experience, and various other skills and all that, you can say, yes, I'm comfortable with this package. Shows that, yes, how serious a candidate is. They should feel very happy to hire you. And maintain a balance all the time. Don't go too fast and too slow. Of course, they try to preface a clutch of questions with a general phrase such as, I would like to talk a little about your home background. Don't give monosyllabic answers or ramble. See, usually some people, they will give answers only like yes or no. It's not correct. Try to give full answer. When they ask about your family, try to give more and more information about your family. Okay. And then your leadership qualities. They will see whether you can become a leader, in the sense, team leader. How you can lead the team. What extra skills that you have. How you can really advise them. How you can extract work from your subordinates. Like, they will look at all this. So, organizational skills, strength of the character, a strong decision making ability. They will see whether you can make a strong decision or not, whether you have that ability or not. Okay, so these are some important things that we have to keep in mind. And if you can really take care of all this, you can really, finally, we can see some points as a revision. First thing that you have to do is the way you walk. You knock the door or you open the door, walk in smartly and very cheerfully, maintain a smile all through. And as soon as you go inside, try to shake the hands, try to shake the interviewer's hand so firmly, and then take permission whether to sit or not. I mean, whether you can take your chair, and maintain a moderate eye contact, not too much to really, to cause them too much of inconvenience. Suppose a lady interviewer is there, we just go on looking, staring into her eyes all through, then she will feel uncomfortable. That's why a moderate eye contact is very important. And give him your full attention. Even if the members are asking a question close to you, modulate your voice. You have to take care of your voice. Accordingly, you have to modulate. Modulation of the voice is very, very important. And never raise your voice too much, nor speak in a very, very low tone. Moderate it. And do not move your hands and fingers unnecessarily. As much as necessary to demonstrate something, to convince something, you can use a body language. But too much of movement and too much of running here and there will just appear like a show. And do not scratch yourself. Unnecessarily scratching here, and all that will throw a bad impression upon you. and look very sharp and energetic, and don't recline and lean back all the time in your chair, and don't relax too much. Be erect, be straight, and try to be very confident. So on receiving the sight from the chairman, signal from the chairman, then they said that, yeah, your interview is done. Then you can stand up and thank the board members, all the board and board members, one and all, and you can just leave the room with a pleasant face, with a smiling face. Thank you so much. Okay. Now, let's see the types of questions that are generally expected in the interviews, and actually how to conduct an interview. I mean, many books have been written on how to conduct an interview, and many books have come with a formula, that is 7-point formula. In the 7-point plan or a formula, what are they going to look at? So one has to be ready with this. The interviewee who is trying to attend has to be ready with the following. So in the 7-point plan, what are they going to look at? If you see, the first is physique. Physique means, I told you, the body language, your posture, your dynamism, the way you enter, the way you shake the hand, okay, and your overall impression, your health, your etiquette, I can say your social manners, and the outward appearance, maybe even including dressing, the shoe that you have worn, and the formal dress that you have worn, and your walking style, your posture, gestures, everything counts. So physique, I can say, talks about the outward appearance of a person. So it also adds. So they will look at your health, whether you are fit or not. Then your outward appearance. Outward appearance means all this: facial expressions, body language, posture, firm shake hand, the way you walk, the way you really, the dynamism that you upkeep all through. And then the manners. Manners is your etiquette, your social practices, your manners, like the time you enter, would you really wish them or not? Or do you really seek their permission to take your chair or not? Do you thank them or not? Do you really apologize? Like all this counts. So that is, I can say, physique. So each category here will really fetch you some marks. That evaluation part we will discuss later. So then attainments. Attainments are just like achievements. In the achievements, they will see your educational achievements, whether you are a postgraduate, whether you are a doctorate, or whether you have any foreign degree, or any special diploma, or any special technical skills, or do you have any particular experience in the particular branch of which you intend to join right now, and your previous experience will really, will help the interviewer understand you better. Then general intelligence. In general intelligence, you can understand one thing. General intelligence is nothing but the broad spectrum, broad area of common sense. Means your depth of knowledge and your minimum common sense in each and everything. The range of knowledge that you have, the depth of knowledge that you have, and argumentative and convincing skills that you have. Okay. Minimum aptitude do you have or not? And then next one is aptitudes. In the aptitudes, they will see your mechanical, verbal, musical or artistic skills. Whether you have technical and mechanical skills, verbal, your communication skills, or any other artistic skill that you have, aptitude, then your interests. Like there will be a general question like, what are your interests? What's your passion? What are you interested in? What's your outlook? What's your vision? What are your hobbies? How do you pass your time? Like we say, gardening, painting, or reading books. Like that will show, that will give an understanding of what kind of person you are. And then disposition. Disposition means your overall personality, like your acceptability to something, your adaptability to something, whether you are self-motivated or not. Do you always expect somebody to motivate you, or are you self-motivated by yourself? Are you dominant or submissive? Are you an extrovert or introvert? So the personality will give us an idea about whether he's an introvert or extrovert, whether he's a dominating or domineering kind of character, very submissive, very soft, or his acceptability and adaptability. And then circumstances. Especially in the circumstances, it helps the interviewer to contextualize or to put all your achievements into, I can say, into context. So circumstances will help him understand the contextualization of your achievements. And then the type of questions can be grouped or can be categorized into 4 groups, I can say. First type of questions will be leading questions. What do you mean by leading questions? There will be one person to take the lead. Naturally, when it's a committee chairman or a team leader will try to take the initiative. So in the initiative process, they will try to keep the candidate at ease. So there will be a general question like, where are you from? How long is it for the first time that you've been to Delhi, or you've been to Hyderabad? How do you feel about Hyderabad? Have you seen any places? Just like general kind of questions in which they will just try to keep you at ease and relaxed, and there'll be some general introduction and all that, in which they want to know your hobbies, your interests, and all that. Then actually slowly it goes into open-ended questions. In the open-ended questions, they are actually going to ask you like, your academic record is very brilliant. Tell us something about your higher education. So then about what are you graduated in, post-graduated in, or a doctorate in particular branch. Like there'll be some open-ended questions. And this will enable the candidate to talk, explain, and illustrate something that he knows. So they give you an opportunity to talk. Instead of asking something which you may not be able to answer, they try to ask something which you may be already knowing. That's why it is open-ended question. They want to see your communication skills, whether you are shy or not, whether you have any inhibition or not, how free you are, your presentation skills. Then the third category is probing questions. See, slightly probing questions will really, will help actually how you would organize follow-up, questions. So they want to know further your depth of the knowledge. So they may ask something like, what is the difference between CTBT and NPT? Or they may generally ask you, yeah, newspapers write most of the news on politicians only. What do you say about it? So they just want to know whether you are a regular newspaper reader or not. If so, what do you read? Do you read an editorial or not? Like how deeply you go? What is your depth of knowledge? What is the range of knowledge that you have? And all that. Then close-ended questions. So with this, again, they're going to close. So here, once again, they will ask something like, for instance, they'll ask, what was your favorite subject? What's your choice of place for posting? Suppose you are selected, what's your choice for posting? So it's going to be a friendly kind of question. So these type of questions would be there. And then, based on the evaluation, you will understand how evaluation is done for the candidate. So it's a blend of different qualities of, I can say, mind, body, and spirit. Mind, body, and spirit. It's a synthesis, it's a blend of all this, integration of all these qualities in the candidate overall. So actually personality can be grouped into 4 heads. Number 1, if you see disposition. In the disposition, they will see your appearance, social manners, dynamism, mental power, and overall impression. So each will have 25 marks, and each subcategory will fetch you 5 marks. Your appearance, your outward appearance. I told you the kind of dressing, your behavior, your posture, gesture, and all that. Your eye contact, facial expression, and all that is appearance. Social manners, I told you, the etiquette that you follow. And then dynamism, how dynamic you are, how energetic you are all through the interview, without feeling too nervous, without slouching too much, being energetic all through, and without losing any kind of spirit and uh, losing the state of mind, nothing of that kind. And then mental power. They will look at the mental power of the candidate. How far he can really withstand any kind of situation. What is his mental capacity? And then overall impression of all these, integration of all. Then is knowledge. In the knowledge, they will see the range of knowledge. It means that, do you have an idea about social sciences, mathematics, general studies, literature, music, and various other things and all that? Like generally, what is the range of knowledge that? And then depth. When they specifically try to ask something, they would like to see the depth, how deep you can really, answer it. Then application of knowledge. Suppose you have knowledge, can you really apply that knowledge, or only you are informative? Some people have information, but they don't know how to apply the knowledge that they have. They don't have wisdom, they have only knowledge. Wisdom is the application of knowledge. So wisdom is more important than knowledge. So they will see whether you have the wisdom or not. Because wisdom is, at the end of the day, important than the knowledge. Then coherence of thought. The unity of thought that you show in answering anything that they ask, may be related to your subject or outside the subject, whether you can really, organize them in a coherent way or that thing. And again, overall impression. And then communication skills. In the communication skills, what they see? Your language skills. Language means your presentation skills, your vocabulary, okay, and expressions, your grammar, sentence formation, and all that. And then voice, accent, tone, how strong you are, masculine voice that you have, tone, whether it's a freak, feeble kind of voice or very commanding or very audible enough, and the rhythm in which you actually explain something, and the clarity that you have. So whenever you explain something, do you really explain something in obscure way, an understandable kind of way, or do you have the clarity and the logic that you apply to explain something that you are aiming to or you are aiming at? Then the convincing or argumentative skills that you have to convince your point, and overall impression. So these are once again very important. And then leadership traits. So leadership traits, sorry, these are not traits, traits, qualities, leadership qualities, like the initiative. Can you really break the ice or not? Can you really take the initiative to really do something or not? So a leader must be always ready to take the initiative. And then the organizational skill, to organize something, to mobilize people, to upkeep team spirit, to constantly encourage the team, and deciding power. And decision making is very important. A leader must be a good decision maker. He should be able to take decision and try to convince everybody with the decision that he has taken, and see that everyone follows the decision without any question. And then character, overall character of that person. Sincerity, punctuality, honesty, and various other things they will see. Because leadership will thrive only when person has a moral uprightness, and then overall impression. So communication skills, leadership traits, and I can say disposition, that is physical appearance, knowledge, depth of the knowledge, and then communication skills, leadership traits. These 4 points with subcategory of 5. So each head is allotted 25 marks with 5 marks for each subdivision. Put together, they'll be around 100 marks. So that's all they're, going to see. So that's why a candidate has to keep in all this. So when you understand how you are going to be evaluated, what are the parameters on which, what are the parameters they are going to use? They are going to use to evaluate your performance. When you know that, you can really take care of yourself, right from your personal grooming up to your mental stamina, your depth of the knowledge, the communication skills, and the leadership qualities that you profess, and all that matters at the end of the day. Then obviously you'll be able to succeed like anything interview without any second thought. So that's why keep all these points in mind. You will be able to succeed like anything in any kind of interview, right? All the best. Thank you very much.